All right, Unit 1A, notes, key features of a graph. So this top part right here is kind of a review. We did this a little bit the other day. All right, so we're just going to label all 5 of these things. And we're going to start with the x-axis, okay? And we know x-axis goes left to right. So I'm going to label it x, and then I'm going to go to the arrow that's pointing to the x-axis and write x-axis. So write this with me.
No.
All right, number 2 is the y-axis, and I know that goes up and down. Good. Good. Okay, then I'm going to label the arrow that goes to it y-axis. Okay. Number 3 is my origin, and what is that?
0.
The middle, 0, 0. Good. So I'm going to write origin to the arrow pointing to the middle, and then I'm going to put 0, 0. Stop.
I'm so tired.
Number 4 is the quadrants. What letter do we draw when we do the quadrants?
C.
We do a C. Good. And the numbers have to be written as what? Roman numerals. So here's my first quadrant as Roman numeral. Then I've got 2. Because when you write, it's like you're making a C. Okay, then I've got quadrant 3. Then quadrant 4, IV. Okay, last but not least, we have our signs in each quadrant. Okay, so if I have an ordered pair in quadrant 1, that would be positive, positive. If I have an ordered pair in quadrant 2, that would be negative, positive.
Negative, negative.
Good. Quadrant 3 would be
Negative, negative.
negative, negative. And quadrant 4 is
Positive, negative.
positive.
Negative.
Good. Good. All right. X-intercept. All right, are also known as. Okay, look up here. See where it says rocks? That's. You know how I told you have to remember Dr. X Y left his ID in his office? Rocks is another thing that you have to remember. Roots, zeros, x-intercept, solutions, and that's what we're about to talk about. Okay, so x-intercept are also known as roots. Roots.
You said rocks?
Yeah, right here. It's like how you're going to remember it. Okay, but the first word is roots. Roots, zeros, zeros, and solutions. We're going to write it. Okay? All right, now, rocks. R-O-X-S. Rocks. All of these words, roots, zeros, solutions, they all mean x-intercept. Okay? Did you all hear that?
Yes.
Okay? All 3 of these words mean x-intercept. You could see any of them on any paper. It could say, what are the roots? And it's just asking for your x-intercepts. What are the solutions? All it wants to know is your x-intercept. Okay, what are your zeros? X-intercept. Okay, so rocks is just to help you remember those 4 words and that they all mean the same thing. Okay, the word rocks. So like I used Dr. X Y left his ID in his office, that helps you remember domain and range. Rocks helps you remember your x-intercept words. Okay, questions on that? Okay, y-intercept. Is another word for your y-intercept is your initial value. It's where you start. Initial value. Put your calculator down. I'm not on it. And it's also known as your B. What does B mean? What does that mean? What am I talking about, B?
Y-intercept? I don't know.
Y equals mx plus b. Your b is your y-intercept. Okay, if you have an equation in y equals mx plus b form, the b is your y-intercept. All right, so look at the bottom. Now, for some reason, it printed bad. This x-intercept, do you see where it says x-intercept? Okay, it should be written right here in front of this line. So you can cross it out if you need to. Cross out x-intercept, because it shouldn't be written right there, I'm sorry. And then write it right here in front of this line, x-intercept. X-I-N-T for x-intercept. Okay, so we're going to go find our x-intercept and our y-intercept. I'm going to start with the x-intercept first, all right? I have a graph. What do we do anytime you see a graph?
Label X and Y.
Good. Label your x and y axis. So here's x, here's y. And I want to know my x-intercept. Okay, before we start, we all know that an ordered pair is x comma y, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's start with our x-intercept. And here is my x-axis, and this is where it crosses the x-axis, right there. And this is at negative 1, 2, 3.
Negative.
So negative 3. Now, because I'm talking about the x-axis, negative 3 is going to go in your x spot of your ordered pair. Okay, we're talking about x-intercept, so negative 3 goes in the x spot. What goes in the other spot?
The Y-intercept.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
What is this ordered pair? 0.
Oh.
Okay. Now we're going to look at our y-intercept. So where does it cross the y-axis? Here. And this is positive 2. Now, I'm talking about the y-intercept, so my number is going to go in the y spot. And what goes in the x spot?
0.
0. Does everybody see that? Okay. All right, look at the second graph. First thing I need to do is label x and y. Okay, my x-intercept. How many x-intercepts am I going to have?
2.
2. It crosses the graph, the x-intercept here and here. Those 2 points. And I'm going to write both ordered pairs. How many dots do I have?
2.
2. So how many sets of parentheses am I going to have?
2.
2. 2 dots, 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, and I'm talking about the x-axis, so my numbers are going to go in the x spot. All right, so my first one is negative 2, 0, and positive 2, 0.
Oh my, that's a lot.
You can do it. Okay, my y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? Here.
0, negative 4.
Now I'm talking about the y. So this number is going to go where?
On the Y spot.
In the y spot of the ordered pair. Okay,
Right
so
side.
this is negative 4, so that would be negative 4 in the y spot, and then 0 in the other one. Any questions?
No.